Okay, so okay, can you see that little thing in the bottom? I can see you, but the problem is, can you see, have you got anything in the bottom so I can add you? Because at the moment I can't add. Oh, here we go, add, hang on. Okay,
have you got
you
me?
can hear? Okay, you're there. You're there.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm there. Okay, so hello. So Ambrosine and I are back again.
If you
we
can,
want to talk about a few issues.
Sharon, if you can just share it, because you've got the facility to share into different groups, back into Campaign
I'm going to do that.
for Truth. And the reason that I think that we wanted to talk about this particular issue today is the fact that I received I think one in probably maybe 30 or 40 letters that I've had over the years, Janine, as well. Hi, I think you'll be interested in this. So I got a letter today from the police to say that the attack in Holloway for the Labour Party event where I was assaulted and attempted robbery, and Sharon basically had her head kicked in. But on my side, where my part of the report to the police, the statement that I gave, basically the police have said that they are dropping the case. Now, this is in line with the JW3 attack, which was attack and an assault on another activist there, where we still haven't heard anything back from the police. But on this particular occasion, and the reason why we want to talk about institutional anti-Semitism and why we're making a very big event at the beginning of January, that we and Sharon, we want to talk about what is happening within the police when it comes to Jews being assaulted with evidence and photographs and videos, with evidence that they are dropping the cases of anti-Semitism. So carry on.
Okay, so I want to come in here a little bit because it seems for some time that if there's an action against Jews, that it's not taken very seriously. About a year ago, Ambrosine and I wrote an open letter to who did we write it to, Ambrosine? The Minister for Justice, I think.
Yeah.
About the CPS. This was before the CPS was called into question about some of the ways that it was dealing with some alleged rape cases and so on. And we wrote this open letter to them because we were very concerned about the CPS bringing into the arena third-party reporting agents, which in a sense gave these vested interest organizations a say in what should be prosecuted and what should not be prosecuted. We arrived at this because it seemed to us that there were many issues that were happening that involved Jews that weren't be taken seriously. So, for instance, if we go to demos, we're the ones who are told to move on. And we're told to move on because we were told by Cressida Dick that if there's a chance of a riot, they don't arrest anybody. And they obviously know that as Jews, we're not going to riot. So Ambrosine and I have spoken about where we got kicked in and beaten up and attempted robberies and so on in Holloway. And what's ultimately happened now is that the Ambrosine's report for her attempted robbery and her getting her shins kicked in by the same two feral girls that beat me to a pulp, she has today heard that they're closing the case. And I think the thing that struck me, I don't know if Ambrosine noticed this, the thing that struck me was that they actually thanked her for reporting the case, because such reports give them an idea of crime that occurs in the area. If a crime occurred in the area, my question is, why are they closing the case? So either it was a crime or it wasn't a crime, but it can't be a crime for their statistics and yet not a crime when it's for an investigation. The other thing that struck me is that they want the victim to produce for them all the absolute hard evidence, otherwise they're not going to investigate. So as an ordinary citizen, you need to walk around with a camera and you need to record everything that you do in case you get beaten up by some guy or some girl. So this is where we're at. And it seems to me that it's the Jews that are getting the brunt of it. We are collecting case after case after case where the police are throwing out from investigation, and the CPS is throwing out from prosecution or from a hearing of cases that involve Jews. And this is very concerning, particularly since the hearing that took place over the weekend at the solicitors, what's it called? SRC.
Solicitors.
Yeah. With Mark Lewis. Mark Lewis, as many of you will know, is a very well-known libel lawyer. So well known, he was the chap who broke the whole Millie Dowler phone hacking issue that led to Levinson and so on, and the closing down of the News of the World. And Mark Lewis was brought before his the regulatory body for solicitors because he responded to a barrage of attacks and some death threats from neo-Nazis. And although they found that he wasn't struck off, they fined him for bringing the profession into disrepute. How did he bring the profession into disrepute? Because he responded to these neo-Nazis. He responded to attacks on him as a Jew. And he responded in a very angry way, which I think, well, those of us who have been around and watched what happens to us have responded. We've often been faced with situations where we've lost our tempers, where we've been angry. And what struck me is that the tribunal, the head of the tribunal, actually said that he could not get to grips with this idea of Holocaust denial. And I thought to myself, if he can't get to grips with the crux of the matter that he is heading a tribunal for, how come he didn't throw the case out? How come he could find somebody for something that was in a tweet and he saw the first level tweet, or shall I say the last level tweet? There was no investigation behind the tweets as to what happened and what led to the response that Mark Lewis gave. And yet this tribunal found that they could sanction Mark Lewis. And I'm wondering if a tribunal judge had said that he couldn't get to grips or understand a woman, a man, a black person, a Muslim, would he have got away with having fined the person involved?
I want to just
I can't get my head around this.
I wanted to just, because some people have come in the room, they probably haven't heard the assault which happened. This is one of many, by the way, not just one, but the assault that happened in Holloway with the Labour Party and Labour Jeremy Corbyn anti-Semitism event, where I was assaulted, attempted robbery, and Sharon had her head kicked in, and robbery and assault, etc. That my case has been basically dropped by the police. I just wanted to just talk a little quickly a bit, Sharon, because I think people think that all of these cases of anti-Semitism and physical assaults and things have only just been brought to the police over a matter of months or years. I wanted to just go back a little bit and just to see why we think as an organization and as individuals that somehow in the police and in the CPS there is institutional anti-Semitism. And I'm just going to give you a few examples, Sharon,
Yeah.
of all of the things that I on anti-Semitism have reported. Just basic, you know, just a few things. So I'm not going to mention the names of the people, okay, but let's just go through a few. So we know about the recent things, the Nazi salute done by a neo-nationalist Nazi. That was dropped. My criminal case was dropped. Another person, a guy who was friends of this particular neo-Nazi, harassment for anti-Semitism, that case was dropped. December 2017, a high-ranking official in UK Parliament meeting with anti-Semitic tropes and Holocaust denial, still waiting for the police to come back on that. That's from 19th of January. 2nd of August 2014, I'm just picking out things here. A foreign student was online on Twitter and he was making violent anti-Semitic threats as he was on the bus in Hendon in London with reports and saying, if I get 50 retweets of this, I'm going to kick that Jew's head in. He had a kippah on his head and he took a photograph of this guy. That case wasn't brought to anything. This is very important, an anti-Semitic tropes which were used by leading Muslim organizations. The police report said that particular word, Zio, was not anti-Semitic and therefore cases were dropped. And one more, I'm just picking out, I mean, let's have a look. 2013 April, anti-Semitic verbal abuse, North London area, argument between two males. One makes a reference to other being a filthy Jew. Report made, police dismiss case. And that was not online. These were physical. So we can see, and we've got lists of I don't know how many, on and on and on. Yet, Sharon, as we were talking today, a woman, a Muslim woman on a bus is verbally assaulted or verbally told something on a bus. Police straight on the bus, arrest the guy, within a week up in court and possibly with a sentence.
This seems to be the big thing, that when it comes to Jews, we have to battle, we have to engage lawyers. With my beating up, I'm very fortunate that I've had a barrister friend and a whole bunch of lawyers who help us, who have had to keep this chugging along. We virtually had to beg the police to interview me, never mind a witness or two. The story goes like this, that my neighbor had a burglary through the night, sometime between midnight and 5 in the morning, in a very quiet suburban street, where there were not likely to be any witnesses prowling around to see a burglary. When I woke up on the Monday morning, I found a police van outside, a van, not a car, not a motorbike, but a police van. And a van usually carries more than one policeman. They were in my street making inquiries a couple of hours after the burglary might have taken place. This burglary was so minor that they stole a mobile phone and they stole a handbag with some keys in it. So the police were there, and the day after that I received a letter through the post from the police calling for witnesses to come forward to this burglary. And I really felt very affronted by this, because I was beaten to a pulp. I was unconscious. The police did not come to the hospital. The police did not call my home the next day to see if I was admitted to the hospital, whether I was dead or alive. The victim support didn't call me. Nobody made inquiries at all with me. I had to call the section of the police where they coordinate the investigations before the reports before they investigate. They had spelt my name wrong. They couldn't find the file. They had a special officer who reported it, who wrote up the report, and therefore couldn't escalate this to an investigation. I had to get somebody to write to the inspector, and only when the inspector made sent an email to the attending officer did he bother to contact me, and he sent me his work schedule to tell me how busy he was and why he couldn't investigate my crime in a hurry. And then he asked me about my mobile phone. He didn't ask me whether I had any lasting damage from being kicked in the head repeatedly to the point that I was lying in a gutter unconscious. I had no questions about how I was. I had to drive one of the witnesses to the police station and insist that they took a statement from her. Another chap had to go to a police station himself and insist that they take a witness statement from him. A third person who witnessed everything, who was there, went into her police station, and she was told they'd call her if they need her. They have not linked my case and Ambrosine's case. They are saying the one's got nothing to do with the other, although they were the same girls at the same incident. What else are they doing? Finally, they called me and I had to go into a police station to be interviewed. And the officer interviewing me was the officer who attended on the night. And he had the audacity to say to me, did I go to hospital? He was there. He knew the ambulance had been called. He knew that it didn't turn up. He knew that I'd castigated the police for not taking me to hospital, and that my friend had to drive my car and take me in to see a doctor. So was this burglary of my neighbor so much more important, firstly, than my mobile phone that was stolen 6 weeks ago and my head that was kicked in? Or is this just because I'm a Jew that they don't do
Well,
it?
you know,
And I'm beginning to get rid of the idea that I'm paranoid about it and understand that it's now become a fact that there is institutionalized neglect of Jews within our legal system.
there is a
silence about it.
There is an organized collective neglect of Jews, and when people are calling for anti-Semitism to be taken seriously alongside Islamophobia, this is another problem that we have, because according to my records and the amount of reports that I've made to the police over a decade, 10-year period, through what I've done as work reporting anti-Semitic cases online, offline, physical, etc. What we're finding is that around about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe, the police didn't take online social media anti-Semitism seriously. However, even physical attacks of anti-Semitism, like the case that I just mentioned, also the one outside the JW3 5 months ago, they didn't come to take any statement from both parties that were assaulted. However, we know that there is one activist who was at a Patriot march or a Patriot event, and a white guy with tattoos, probably linked to the BNP or something, did a Nazi salute. He was arrested. They had one photograph, maybe 2 photographs. He was arrested, taken to court, given a fine. So what is it here that we're playing at? What is it? Is if you're white, maybe working class, maybe attached to an EDL far right, inverted commas, group, is being an anti-Semite more important if you're to the police if you're white, but if you are being attacked and assaulted possibly by somebody who's not white, not a Christian, according to what I have reported, that the police will not take that seriously, or there seems to be a block somewhere along the line, Sharon, whether it's from the police or to the CPS. There are people stopping things happening.
So Joe Pierce has written here, he says, funny how the media have gone balmy over an asylum seeker student being pushed over and had water poured on him. A very minor incident, but your attack, that's our attack, is ignored.
Yeah.
This is really this is really the crux of the matter. And I just need to get back to this tribunal judge who couldn't get his head around Holocaust denial. He could not understand it. He could not understand why Mark was responding to a neo-Nazi. He couldn't get his head around it. Why don't you just ignore them? And it takes me back to the Grosvenor Square demo that I went to when they brought the mosques down. The mosques of the
North.
West Midlands brought all those imams down
Shia.
to protest against President Trump. Do you remember? And I went there and I filmed some of the talks given by as one specific imam in Urdu in this country. The whole talk was given in Urdu and I had it translated. And it was scathing of Jews. It wasn't only Israel. It was scathing of Jews. And what he basically said was he was telling his audience how Jews rape women and children, and he said that when they're done with us, there will be no place for Jews. And when I reported this to the police, and I have it on recording, two policemen came here very reluctantly, and they basically told me, if I don't like what I hear, why do I go and listen? I should stay at home. I shouldn't go and listen.
But reverse
they were not interested. This was a threat. This was a call to a group of people to go and kill Jews, and the police, they didn't even make a case of it.
No,
they placated me by giving me a number, and that's the last I heard. Fast forward to Conway Hall, where I was attacked. Do you remember? And where they found the booklet of the Workers' Revolutionary Communist Party. Revolutionary Communist Party. Remember the booklet with the swastika and the Magen David, the emblazoned in the middle of the Magen David?
Yeah.
They took it away. He put it in his jacket and he said, we're going to investigate this. Have we heard back from him? No, we've heard nothing. How long ago was Conway Hall?
6 months ago.
Ambrosine.
6 months ago?
Yeah. Not 6 months ago. Was it 6 months ago? It was in the summer.
It was May. It's 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was May. Anyway, it was long enough ago for them to have written to me and said, we've got the booklet, we're having it looked into, we don't like what we see, we do like what we see, God knows. Nothing.
Okay. So
absolutely nothing.
So as I was
and then we have another case. We have another case that is coming up, where this Revolutionary Communist Party is having a meeting in Waltham Forest, and they have actually threatened violence. Where are the police?
Well,
it's in the public arena.
Well, letters are being sent, and hopefully.
But it's in the public arena. As we could pick it up, on social media, why are the police not watching these people who threaten?
Look,
don't they watch? Cressida and Dick told me they watch.
Yeah.
Where are they watching?
I wanted to just, I think Melanie's in the room, and Melanie comes with us on many demonstrations. And just to tell you, Melanie, as a witness at Holloway, the police wrote to me today and said they're dropping the case. So I wanted you to know that. Let's go back.
Also, there's another message here.
This is the link, Sharon. We're talking about his Melanie in the room who managed to get someone who did a swastika, a Zeke Heil salute at a Patriot demonstration, who gets arrested. They have his photograph. He gets arrested. He gets a fine. He goes to court. Okay. But then we have a series of anti-Semitic attacks by someone who's not a patriot, who's not right-wing, who are Muslim or Arabs or left, on the far left, who are doing exactly the same anti-Semitic rhetoric, tropes at events, etc. I want to go back to just a few more examples, Sharon, because people think that this is just a few years. It's been going on since Corbyn, and I just want to tell you, I don't want to disappoint anyone out there, but this is not just because Corbyn has come into power that anti-Semitism is happening on the streets. In 2013, a well-known personality, this is, by the way, reports that I have done, reported for vehement anti-Semitism, malicious communication, verbal anti-Semitism at an event, report, statement, video evidence, police case dismissed, no further action. 2014, an Irish guy connected, they believe, to the provisional IRA, full brief photographs, address photographs of very vehement anti-Semitism, police case discontinued. In fact, I didn't even hear from that one. January 2015, anti-Semitic malicious communications again, CAD reference, report made, police drop. No reason police drop these cases, by the way. Let's talk about Palestine Expo, Sharon. London, anti-Semitic verbal abuse, theft of your property, video evidence, police case dismissed. I mean, we could be here for
I was
days.
attacked in front of the policeman.
Again, not white.
In front of the policeman, I was attacked.
Again, not a white right-wing patriot.
Exactly.
Again.
In front of the policeman. He didn't arrest him. He let him go. I have it on record. The policeman apologized to me. I had the photograph of the guy. The policeman had him in sight. He hurt me. He tried to steal my phone. He had me in his grip in front of the policeman, and the policeman did nothing. We have witnesses. They took no statements. Here is Jan Suzanne is an American friend, and what she's written is this. She has said, the police are given no funds or time to investigate anti-Semitic attacks. It is up to the individual Jew to protect and defend himself. As much as the government talks the talk against anti-Semitism, they do nothing. The environment in Britain is not safe for Jews. They have no resources to cope with the growing anti-Semitism. Frightful. Jihad is winning. This is what Jan Suzanne has written.
But then,
Suzanne,
if that's the case with anti-Semitism, how comes cases of Islamophobia are literally people are arrested, brought into court, and serve time sometimes in prison?
They have resources. They have resources for that.
Oh, they have resources.
They have resources for that.
Oh, but right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We have water fountains.
We have banning of fast food. Let me go a little bit down more on the list. Again, this is not a Corbyn era report, so I'll go through a few more here. Jews evicted from Palestine Expo. Yes, within Palestine Expo. Let's bring that up. Okay, few Jews were taken out of that.
Well, I get the books. I'll get the books in the meantime. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'll get the book.
that case was dropped. Recorded anti-Semitism, obviously occurred in 2017 in London by us. Case dismissed. Criminal case dismissed. Even ID parade case dismissed. Apparently there was also a case against the CPS that was dismissed. Grosvenor Square, which Sharon said, Jews in Urdu, they were told the Jews will have nowhere to go. The Jews better realize their mistakes. Police decline further actions. I'm just going down a few of the reports that we've made. So, you know, the cases go on and on and on of every single anti-Semitic incident. It's quite interesting to note that they're all very excited if you possibly say that there is anti-Semitism coming from somebody from the inverted commas far right. They'll jump on that pretty quickly, and we do get a lot of comeback from the police on those sort of cases. Sharon, when you came through there, I found the information on the West Midlands Grosvenor Square. If you remember, you had written that they were a group of West Midland mosques. They came down to Grosvenor Square And they said that now the Muslim world is very anxious, and once the Muslim world becomes united, the Jews will have nowhere to go. The Jews better realize their
Absolutely.
mistakes. Judaism was supposed to be the religion to claim justice in the world, but they didn't do that. What they did was incite violence and unrest. In places where there was only peace, they created violence. They have forgotten their own history, now not even realizing what kind of torture they are doing to the Palestinians. They're raping Palestinian women, killing Palestinian children in front of their mothers. And they went on to say, they, the Jews, must realize now the Muslim world is very anxious. And once the Muslim world becomes united, the Jews will have nowhere to go. So the Jews better realize the mistakes. And that was in Urdu in the center of London, which Sharon recorded. The police, what did the police say to you on that case?
Well, the police told me if I didn't like what I heard and it upset me, I shouldn't go and listen to it.
Yeah.
What can I say? I shouldn't go and listen
And
to
you
it.
can imagine.
I think whoever's listening to us has heard that. That was the crux of the speech. That was translated by an Urdu-speaking professional person. So I have every reason to believe it's fairly accurate. The only thing I didn't get out of it was the guy's name, but it's there on the recording if I want to find it. But this is basically what it's about, you know. So here's this book that I want to talk about. This book is called, there we go. Can you see it? It's called The History of Masjid al-Aqsa. Masjid is a big mosque. This is like the chief place. And in this book, it gives you the history of the Temple Mount, basically. It talks about the times of the prophets. But what I wanted to show you, I'm not going to read you the book. I wanted to show you a specific drawing in this book that's basically got an old style about it. If you look at the pictures, it's made to look as though it came from a different era. And you page along, and you say that on a page here it says, since the occupation of Masjid al-Aqsa began, the Palestinian people have been worried that the Israelis, now we're talking about a book about prophets, and they're worried that the Israelis might try to destroy Masjid al-Aqsa. Palestinians love Masjid al-Aqsa, just as the Prophet Muhammad advised them to, and just as all Muslims around the world should. Palestinians trying to pray there are stopped from going there. Many Palestinians are kept behind a big wall which Israel has built, and this makes it impossible for them to go to Jerusalem and pray in the Masjid al-Aqsa. The situation is very hard for Palestinians, and they need to keep the Masjid al-Aqsa safe from Israel. And this is the picture that you see in a book about prophets. It's one of the pictures. Okay, now I don't know how many of you watching had been to Israel before 1967, before Israel retook the occupied areas of Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria from the occupiers who were Jordan. I was there not long after, probably about 1975. I was there, and what I saw was a Jerusalem that was a wreck and a ruin. By example, I can give you, for instance, I was up on the Temple Mount that was full of weeds. That Al-Aqsa Mosque that is now restored was almost derelict. And I was in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and I can tell you that the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was in wreck and ruin. And it's only since 1967 that Israel has invested in refurbishing all these. What are you doing, Ambrosine?
My battery's low.
They have refurbished these areas. That the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is now absolutely beautiful. They've reestablished all the different areas that was sold off to all the different religious groups. They've reestablished them. They've found murals on walls that they cleaned off. They've safeguarded the building. If you go up on the Temple Mount, they've made it very beautiful. I remember that area where even the wall, the western wall, was crumbling, was a total mess. And what happens is that people see Jerusalem, particularly, and is Greater Israel as it is today. And they think that's how it was in Ottoman times. They don't actually understand that it was a neglected area in Ottoman times. Nobody lived there. It was full of malaria. It was infested. The Ottomans weren't particularly interested in it. Nobody used to go there very often, except the Christians from the West who went to the holy places, and the Jews who lived there, basically. So now we've been told in these books that are written for 5-year-olds. Here's another one, written for 5-year-olds. We're being told that that this place has got nothing to do with Jews, that the Jews are endangering it. The Jews who rebuilt it are endangering it. The Jews who recreated Israel to what it is today are endangering the lives of the people there, you know. And as a result, these people hang around the UK, and they don't actually, like this judge, they don't understand what it is that's happening.
Well, look, Sharon, the incidents that are happening with anti-Semitism, if you have been monitoring from the beginnings of Twitter and Facebook, for example, if you, like I have, I've been monitoring the anti-Semitism, and it's not coming in waves of maybe 4 or 5 reports a week. It's coming in one here, one there, one here, one there. And then as we've built up from 2014, from Protective Edge all the way through to today, we're seeing that the incidents of physical attacks against Jews are now quite commonplace. The police this is why we're going to do this event, because I believe that we have to have representatives of the police, representatives of the victims of anti-Semitism, as you said, with the witness statements, and the actual people there at the event saying what's happened to them and what happened when they reported it to the police, whether the case moved forward or the case was dropped. And we're talking about the UK now. We're not talking about, you know, America or Canada or the rest of Europe. We're just talking about the increase of institutional anti-Semitism, what we believe is happening in the UK.
Yeah. So just watch the space, because we're going to be doing this. We're going to be calling for witnesses, and we're going to be doing this event that you're all going to be invited to participate in. I'm thinking that we might actually do a live feed and a Skype, some people in as well, so that this is a very serious time that we live in. And I think watch and keep a note of Campaign for Truth on the event page. We'll keep you updated. We're just in the early stages of planning it. We're going to be gathering evidence, and this event is going to be presented to you by the witnesses, by the people involved, by the people who have been neglected in our legal system. Now, I know that there's some lawyers watching this, and maybe they want to make a statement. Lawrence is there. Maybe you want to make a statement. Maybe you've got comments to make. We're very happy for you to invite you in if you want to come and chat with us right now. See, I can invite people in. So let us know if you want to be invited in. Abazine.
What?
What? Say something. Or are you finished? Or
No,
you done?
from today's news of what's happened to the police today, I finally realised that after 10 years of, you know, reporting things, dealing with the police, emailing over years with them on cases that should have taken literally a month to sort out and pass to the CPS, whether these crimes were you know, bad enough for them. And remember, back in the early 2000, social media was very small. Twitter wasn't so big. But when we're talking about these physical attacks, I don't know. I just think there's something very, very serious going on. and we need to get to the root of it. And if we don't get to the root of it, I fear for the community. I fear for the community.
So this is what was written in the Law Gazette about Mark's, my thoughts about Mark's fine. And I know the fine wasn't a huge fine, but it angers me that a man who can't understand the crux of the matter had the audacity to continue with such a trial, that he didn't recuse himself from it. And so this is what I wrote. I said, I was concerned that the STD chairman commented, I am not Jewish myself, and therefore I do not understand, ... Either a judge understands the issues before him, or he should recuse himself from acting. Imagine saying, I am not a woman, a black, a Muslim, etc., and you carry on hearing a case about that issue. The fact that he expressed a lack of knowledge is very concerning. The admission by the chairman made a mockery of justice being seen to be done, and it had to be believed, seen to be believed. The lack of disclosure by the SRA of content added to the farce of the show trial. One hopes that Mr. Lewis's clients get a better quality of justice than the injustice he got. The fact that Mr. Chesterton repeatedly asked why it was necessary, listen, why is it necessary to confront Nazis? Why is it necessary to confront Nazis? I mean, the man has been around long enough to know what happened in the Second World War. He wasn't a baby. He wasn't 20 years old. He wants to know why is it necessary to confront Nazis. It shows a lack of knowledge of the reason why it's necessary to speak out. And it shows when we are not able to speak out. When if we do speak out, we're called racist and whatever. So what is happening is that people are beginning to keep quiet. They're beginning to be frightened to speak out. They don't want to be complaining, for bringing to the fore an injustice that they feel. One of the things I felt when I was beaten, I almost felt a little bit like ashamed that I should be the Jew, probably the first Jewish person to be politically beaten up on the streets of London since 1947. That I should be that person, that I should find myself lying in a gutter. You understand that kind of shame, that why, how should that happen to me? And it can only happen to me because of the attitude of the police. And they came there that night.
40
and
police.
They came there to protect the people who had called
police.
the meeting.
Not one police.
There were 40 of them.
40.
40 times 4, this times 10. 40 of them. And
Standing
they came there, they told me to
standing
form the cordon,
protecting the people that yeah.
Protect came out of the meeting. The people who called that meeting, that anti-Semitic meeting. This is the police we have. And I mean, I'm speechless. I actually can't even talk about it anymore. And I think Mark Lewis over the weekend, a man who has contributed so much to the legal system.
Let's just wait till the event that Sharon, let's just wait till we get
I'm
to
losing you. I can't hear you very well.
Okay, I think we should end it because the reception is really bad.
Okay, I think we're going to say goodnight. I think we're going to say goodnight. I think we've done what we're doing. We've said what we wanted to say. Hi to everybody who's come in. We're going to end this now and listening. If you want to speak with us, please send us messages. Please write on our pages. And good.
And I'll speak to you later.
Okay, send me the link.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Hi, Pam.